Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. And yes, we have introduced you already, so you can proceed. You have around 15 minutes to speak, so we can ask questions and we can discuss a little bit the issue that you are going to present. Please start.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, my name is Alexandra. So tell me, please, can you see the?
Yes, we can see and we can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon again, dear colleagues. My name is Alexandra, and I'm very honored to take part in this conference. And on behalf of our research group, I would like to thank you all for being here today. So the problem that I propose today for our discussion is one of the directions of our international project. So we study the influence of the psychological and educational space of the modern campus on the formation of professional and personal competencies of students with the help of comparative analysis of European, Asian, and Russian experience in higher education. So we consider the psychological and educational space here as a specially created microenvironment where the values, the competences, and the worldview of students are formed in terms of the constant alteration in person's interior under the outer circumstances. The current pandemic situation forced us to drastically change the format of our education, and the campus was temporarily squeezed out as a necessary component of the educational process. And the psychological and educational space has almost completely switched to the digital format. And in many ways, the campus began to be formed from scratch and according to new terms. So the main role in the formation of the educational space began to belong mostly to the educator, his or her competences to organize the educational activities. So at the forefront is now the design of educational programs, as we can say, the drama of the lesson, the scenario techniques for preparing lectures, and development of new entertaining cases for students, and skills in oratory and presentation. So rapid digitalization has revealed many concerns by all the participants in our educational process. So yesterday, most of the teachers, most of the professors adhere to the classical paradigm in their professional activities. But today, we are forced to face the new challenges in new reality and a sharp transition into the e-learning. So among the main challenges for educators are lack of the required level of digital competences, also the need to quick restructure the design of our training courses for new training format, mastering new learning methods and tools, a decrease in the quality of life due to the non-compliance with the work time and the rest time, as we all know. Also, that is increased workload and decreased health, that is physical and psychological both. And as sometimes described, that work has come home and it doesn't leave us. It is right there always, and it is always in the next room. So being in all these circumstances, we have decided to look deeper in all this, all these issues of implementing the online learning and to figure out some problems that were being highlighted by professors from Russian and French universities. So leading scientists in the field in general, in education, so agree on the main problems and deficits in education that require new solutions. First of all, that is decline in the quality of education. The second one is the inequality in digital accessibility. Also, that is the need to adapt ways of tracking the progress. That is the questions of evaluation our students. The next is digital resistance. So here we will notice some forms of formal digitalization. Yes, it's a digitalization of all the approaches to education. Also, that is new approaches to the security in the digital educational space, which is of high importance. The need for the development of self-skills of students and professors, increased demand for the individual approach and psychological support, where the professor is more tutor, mentor, and even psychologist. Also, the lack of communicative culture in the digital educational space. Here we are talking about ethics, subordination, and personal boundaries of all the actors in education. and development of techniques for the effective entry into this new educational environment. But also of high importance to point out the obvious advantages. That is growth of digital literacy, development of new didactics and self-education, increase in the professional competences, and increased number of qualified educators. Also, also inequality, the general notion, is smoothed out, and we can see a global citizenship, which is formed by organizing, by means of international online groups for common projects. Also, the pandemic has taught us many lessons, and one of them is that the future can come swiftly, and sometimes it is impossible to be fully ready for that. And forecasts sometimes may not come true, and it is necessary to accept our world in this uncertainty and find the ways and the ways to form the competences of today, and how will they help us to meet the possible challenges of coming tomorrow. What is this idea? So we carried out analysis of the image of professors' new competences in the post-pandemic university, so which included the image of the representation from students from Russia and France, and from professors. Also, being nowadays in two educational spaces, that is Russian and French, and having the opportunity to experience challenges and solutions in both educational policies. So I would like to present the common Russian-French vision of the image of the future professor educator. Summarizing the opinions of students from Russia and France, we have defined such future professors' competencies that students would like to see in us, professors. So that is professor of the future. First of all, he is a mediator, mentor, assistant, coach, motivator, psychologist, and even a friend, but also being an educator. Also, he is non-formal. He is responsible, creative, stylish, at the same time extraordinary and understandable. As our students mentioned, he speaks the same language with all the students, and obviously with humor. So that was interesting for us. So the professor of the future is an enthusiastic specialist. So he's passionate about his subject and does his work with dedication. So the professor of the future is interdisciplinary. So he knows not only his subject, but also all the subjects that are concerned with his speciality. And he knows the idea how to form the student of tomorrow, and constantly develops and updates his knowledge base. The professor of the future is a digital professional, obviously. He knows the modern technologies and how to use them into the educational process. And also they mentioned that he is a blogger, so that he has maybe his own site, blogs, and he has the ability to create interesting content inside his course, and that this course should be available to everybody. Yeah, also students highlighted such qualities that are necessary for the professors of the future, that is developed emotional intelligence, which was quite interesting for us. He should be sensitive, not indifferent, and having good diction and also pleasant timbre of voice. So that these are interesting points here. So professors from Russia and France defining the image of their competences in the future. So they make slightly different accents, but still in general is the same. So educators as well as students, so they know the need for the development of digital literacy and competences. And the first of all, that is, he should be the digital professional. He should know all the modern technologies, how to use them. Also, he should be a great analyst, that is doing constant quick search and leading process and systematization of the information. Also, he is like student forever, and we may say like that he updates his or her own stock of knowledge and competences. And the main peculiarity of future style of teaching is multitasking. So that is the pace, because the pace of learning is accelerating, and we've got blended learning, that is online and mixed forms, and that all requires more time and a variety of methods for working with students. So if educators focus more on the need for the professional competencies development, so then the students need and expect more personal competencies from the professors. So they say that the teacher must be a human personality. That was interesting for us. And nowadays, such roles, as you may see on our slides, have emerged in the teaching activities within the framework of the e-learning implementations, which characterize changes in the functional of an educator of a modern university, of a post-pandemic university. So first of all, he should be the manager of the e-learning system. So he must ensure the correct functioning of all his system and the system of his course. So the next, he is the course designer. So these are roles. This is the role where he must select the necessary training and test materials, and how to evaluate students, different forms of test assignments. Also, he should be a supervisor. He needs to control all the submitted tasks, implementation by students. So he checks, he corrects, and also he provides the feedback. Also, he's a tutor. So this role is to accompany students throughout the entire learning process, and maybe sometimes beyond the campus territory. Here we've got digital territory. And also professor facilitator or convener, so where he helps to organize all the educational process. So he monitors compliance with the schedule and tasks. And these all are not the roles that can be signed out for an educator today, which will multiply and change all the time. And what prompts the question for our further discussion? So are they just different identities of one person, or are they just roles for different specialists who provide the educational process? And if it is all about the competence of one person, how to ensure the development during this environment and during for our educator, and how can their formation be incorporated into the pedagogical education system of future professors? So these are our questions for future. So also educators and students today are in the problematic field of the sharp restructuring of the whole educational system, and they highlight deficient competencies for the present, formulating them more like opportunities for the future. Therefore, it is not a fact that these competencies will be needed in the future, because we never know, and will be demanded among students. But this all gives us ground for thought and maybe reveal of the actual values among all the factors of the actors of education in modern conditions. So, summing up our analysis of the Russian-French case, so I would like to highlight the following ideas. So first of all, so we all faced approximately the same problems of the extreme restructuring of our education system. The second one, ways of tackling the difficulties that have arisen and developing the possibilities of new education overlap in many ways. Also, we've noticed that France is already successfully implementing individualization and personalization in education, whereas Russia is only at the beginning of this path and is just implementing it locally. So therefore, the stages of education reform that are different levels and will require different implementation technologies. Russian and French colleagues, as we've talked with them, are unanimous in the opinion that the future belongs to blended learning. And this idea, this means that the professor's task is to effectively achieve the synergy of the best face-to-face practices and formats and new methods of e-learning. So our task is to preserve, general idea, to preserve all the best education of yesterday, take the best from today, and build the best education tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention. So if you've got any questions, I will be pleased to answer.